Listen to me. I need you to hear me from the bottom of your soul. There's power in saying no. No is not weakness. No is not fear. No is how you protect your purpose. No is how you protect your peace. No is how you protect your time, your energy, your destiny. See, some of you are saying yes to everybody and everything, and that's why you can't get to where you need to be. You're tired, burned out, stressed, and unfulfilled, not because you're lazy, but because you're addicted to pleasing people who don't even care about your calling. Collision, sometimes you gotta say, no, I can't go out tonight. I got goals. No, I won't waste my energy on negativity. I'm building a future. I'm building a future. No, I don't anyone my peace of mind. I fought too hard to get it. You think you being nice, you think you being kind. But what you really doing is delaying your own breakthrough because you're afraid to disappoint people. I didn't get here by saying yes to distractions. I didn't get here by saying yes to foolishness. I got here by saying no to the things that didn't align with my mission. White heavy check mark if it don't grow me. No. White heavy check mark if it don't heal me. No. White heavy check mark if it don't serve my higher self mind. You got to stop renting out your time. Renting out it's cheap. You got to stop giving your energy to things that don't feed your soul. Your yes has no value. If your no has no boundaries, you think you hustling, but you leaking power. You think you grinding, but you giving your best to people who don't deserve it. You want to be elite? You want to rise to the top? You want to live with purpose? Then understand this. Your destiny begins when your discipline says no. So starting today, no more guilt, no more fear. Say it loud. Say it strong. Say it with purpose. Say it like your future depends on it, because it does. Say no and watch your life level up. You got this. Let's go. Let me tell you something. Right now, you've been trained to think that when you say no, you're doing something wrong. You've been conditioned to feel like saying no means you're being selfish, that you're rejecting people, letting them down, shutting doors. But I came to tell you today, no is not rejection. No is redirection. No is purpose in motion. No is power. See, you've been saying yes to everything because you don't want to feel like you're leaving anybody behind. You don't want to feel like you're missing out. You want to be the one who's always available, always there, always agreeable. But the truth is, some of y'all been saying yes to things that have nothing to do with where you're trying to go in life. You're saying yes to people, places, opportunities that don't feed your spirit, don't move your mission, don't align with your assignment, and you're wondering why you're tired, frustrated, stuck. Let me tell you why. Because you are out of alignment. Listen to me closely. You're not rejecting him. You're choosing you. You're choosing your future. You're choosing your healing. You're choosing your calling. You are not being cruel when you say no. You are being clear. You are being courageous. You are standing on conviction. You're saying, I've wasted too much time watering dead plants, chasing empty validation, walking circles around my own greatness. Nah, choosing alignment. I'm choosing purpose. And that means I gotta start saying no. Saying no doesn't mean you hate people. It means you love yourself enough to protect your time, your energy, your anointing. Come on, somebody. You can't keep saying yes to everybody and still say yes to your calling. You can't say yes to foolishness and expect excellence to show up. You can't say yes to every phone call, every party, every drama, and still have enough left in the tank to build that business. Write that book, chase that dream. Let me be real. Every yes costs something. You spending your yes like it's unlimited, but your yes is expensive. Every time you say yes to something small, you're saying no to something big. When you say yes to comfort, you say no to growth. When you say yes to distraction, you say no to focus. When you say yes to fear, you say no to faith. That's the real man. You think you're doing everybody a favor by saying yes, but you're robbing your destiny in the process. See, I had to learn this the hard way. I was out here trying to be everything for everybody. I wanted to support everybody's vision, everybody's dream. I want to be light. But guess what? I was empty. I was drained. I was tired. I was distracted. And I had to wake up one day and say, Eric, you either gonna live for the expectations or your elevation, but you can't do both. You either gonna choose popularity or purpose. You either gonna be accepted or be anointed, but one of them's gonna have to go. There comes a moment when you gotta look in the mirror and admit the truth. I've been saying yes because I'm scared to disappoint people. I've been saying yes because I don't want to lose relationships. I've been saying yes because I'm afraid of being alone. And listen, I get it. But I'm telling you, there's a greater fear. The fear of living your whole life off track, out of pocket, unfulfilled, unaligned. All because you didn't have the strength to say a simple, firm, powerful, intentional no. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to what does. You're making room, you're clearing the path, you're stepping into divine alignment, doors start opening, clarity comes, energy returns. That creative fire is back. That peace is deeper. That focus, lock in. Why? Because you cleared the clutter with a single word no. And don't you dare feel guilty about it. I said, don't you dare. That guilt you feel, that's not your spirit talking. That's conditioning. That's trauma. That's people pleasing. That's fear. And fear don't run nothing no more. From this moment on, fear doesn't make your decision. Faith does. Conviction does. Vision does. Purpose does. Discipline does. You're not rejecting nobody. You're protecting something sacred. Your assignment, you're not selfish. You're strategic. You're not avoiding people. You're advancing your calling. You're not quitting on them. You're committing to you. There's nothing more powerful than a man or woman who knows where they're going and is not afraid to say no to everything that doesn't lead them there. You better walk in that no with power. You better own that no with boldness. You better use that no like a weapon against every distraction, every temptation, every counterfeit connection that's trying to derail your future. You got one life, one shot, one purpose, and the only way you reach it is if you stop handing out yeses like candy and start handing out no like you mean it. So I need you to remember this. Your no is not about rejection. It's about redirection. You are not walking away from them. You are walking towards you, toward who you were born to be, toward the person your calling has been waiting on, toward the champion that's been buried under the weight of too many yeses. Free yourself today. Speak up. Stand firm. Say it loud. Say it proud. No, I don't know who needs to hear this, but your energy is not free. It ain't cheap. It's not unlimited. You are here giving your energy to every situation, every person, every drama, every noise that pops up. And you wonder why you feel drained, why you feel empty, why you feel like you're giving your all and still coming up short. It's not because you ain't grinding. It's not because you ain't working. It's because you're leaking. You're leaking your greatness into places that don't deserve it. You're giving your energy to people who wouldn't even pray for you if you were down bad. You're investing in conversations that rob you of peace. You're surrounded by distractions pretending to be opportunities. And you wonder why your spirit feels tired. You wonder why your mind can't focus. You wonder why your dreams are still on the shelf collecting dust. It's because you haven't learned the first principle of greatness. Protect your energy. Let me be real with you. Protecting your energy is not about being rude. It's not about cutting people off for no reason. It's about having enough self-respect to say, I will no longer entertain what drains me. That's it. That's the message. Some of y'all respect other people more than you respect yourself. You'll break your own routine, your own values, your own peace just to make somebody else comfortable. Meanwhile, you're uncomfortable in your own skin. You'll answer every call, text, invite argument, even when your soul is screaming for silence, for space, for solitude. But you don't listen because you think love means sacrificing yourself. No. Real love begins with you respecting your own energy. I had to learn this the hard way. I was trying to be everything for everybody. I wanted to help. I wanted to support. I wanted to be the one who showed up every time. But I was burning out. I was losing focus. I was emotionally exhausted. And I realized I was overcommitting to everyone else because I was undercommitted to me. You feel that? Well, let me say it again. I was showing up for them more than I was showing up for me. I was making time for everything except my healing, my growth, my development, my next level. And the moment I flipped the script and said, I love you, but I gotta love me more right now. That's when everything changed. I started guarding my space. I stopped entertaining nonsense. I stopped arguing with people who were committed to misunderstanding me. I stopped investing in relationships that didn't reciprocate. I cut off the noise. I silenced the distractions. I turned inward and focused on the vision. Let me break it down for you. Your energy is like currency. You only got so much to spend in a day. So you got to ask yourself, where am I spending my energy? Who's cashing checks for my spirit and never depositing anything back? Who's taking my time, my joy, my focus, and leaving me depleted? Listen, any relationship, environment, or habit that consistently drains you is too expensive to keep. And I ain't talking just about people. I'm talking about what you watch, what you listen to, what you scroll through on your phone, that gossip account you follow, draining. That toxic playlist full of pain and anger, draining. That TV show that glorifies brokenness, draining. You don't even know it, but your spirit is absorbing everything, and you wonder why your heart feels heavy. You gotta create boundaries like your life depends on it, because it does. You gotta tell yourself, I don't care how good the opportunity sounds. If it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. You gotta start moving like your energy is sacred, because it is. It's what powers your purpose. It's what fuels your progress. Without it, you can't create, you can't grow, you can't lead, you can't love. So protect it with everything you've got. And stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. Stop justifying your distance. Stop apologizing for needing rest. Solitude, space. You ain't cold, you ain't mean, you're intentional. And intentional people don't waste energy. They invest it. They put it into things that multiply. They plant seeds in soil that bears fruit, not rocks that drain the roots. So from this moment on, I want you to treat your energy like royalty, like a luxury car. You don't let just anybody hop in the driver's seat. You don't pour diesel into a vehicle made for premium. You don't drive it through every dirt road and expect it to stay clean. No, you protect that vehicle. You park it somewhere safe. You fill it with the right fuel. You understand its value. Do the same with you if you want peace. Protect your energy. If you want elevation, protect your energy. If you want clarity, discipline, focus, success, protect your energy. Your future depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your legacy depends on it. I need you to understand something right now. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every door that opens is your door. Not every path that looks shiny is your path. And if you don't learn to discern, you will spend your life chasing what looks good, sounds good, feels good, and miss what is good for your soul, your purpose, and your future. We live in a world that tells you to take every shot, say yes to every offer, grab every opportunity that comes your way. But I came to tell you, that's a lie. That's how you stay busy but never effective. That's how you become overwhelmed, distracted, burnt out. That's how you miss your assignment chasing someone else's alignment. Just because it came to you doesn't mean it came for you. Listen to me, opportunity without discernment is a trap. Some doors don't lead to destiny, they lead to distraction. Some connections aren't divine, they're a detour. They look like blessings, but they're really burdens. And if you don't have clarity about who you are and where you're going, you'll start calling distractions God's favor and waste years trying to force something that was never yours in the first place. Just because it pays well doesn't mean it's aligned. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's purposeful. Just because it gets attention doesn't mean it deserves your attention. You've got to learn to pause and ask, does this opportunity feed my mission or feed my ego? Because they're not the same thing. Too many of y'all are saying yes to opportunities out of insecurity, out of fear, out of FOMO. You're afraid of missing out, so you jump on every train that pulls into the station, not realizing that some of those trains are headed to nowhere. You don't need every train. You just need the right one, the one that's going in the direction of your vision, and that means you need discernment. See, I've been there. I've had offers, stages, contracts, deals that look like success. People clapping, cameras flashing, money coming, but deep down I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it was accountancy. See, I knew it didn't fit the vision God gave me, and I had to make the hard choice to walk away from it. Not because it wasn't big, not because it wasn't shiny, but because it wasn't mine. Let me say this loud and clear. Not everything that glitters is gold. Some of it is just distraction dust. It gets in your eyes, clouds your vision. And before you know it, you're off course, wondering how you got there. You're in a room full of lights, but you feel lost. You're surrounded by noise, but feel unheard. You're busy, but not fulfilled. That's what happens when you chase opportunity without asking, does this line up with my identity? You have to be so grounded in your purpose that you can say no, even to good things, because they're not your things. You got to stop being impressed by every offer and start being obsessed with alignment. I'm talking about alignment with your values, your integrity, your calling, because when you're aligned, the right opportunities don't just show up. They make sense. They fit. They feel right. You don't have to force them. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to become somebody else to keep them. Discernment is what separates average from excellent. Discernment is what lets you see beyond the surface. It's what lets you feel when something's off, even if it looks right. It's when your spirit says, oh, no, this ain't it. It looks good, but it's not for me. That's wisdom. That's maturity. That's purpose-driven power. And that's the difference between someone who chases success and someone who builds legacy. And let me tell you something else. Sometimes the enemy of your purpose isn't failure. It's too many options. You got too many things pulling on you, too many voices, too many directions, too many doors open at once. And you're paralyzed trying to figure out which one to walk through. But what if I told you most of them ain't even yours to walk through? Some of them are decoys. Some of them are distractions dressed as destiny. And the only way you'll know which is by getting quiet, getting focused, and getting in tune with your assignment. Some opportunities are meant to tempt you, not teach you. They come to test if you know your value, if you know your purpose, if you know who you are without the applause. Will you stay true to your vision, even when something better comes along? Will you choose obedience over options? Will you say no to the noise so you can say yes to clarity? You don't need 100 opportunities. You need the right one. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be in the one place where your gift grows, your peace flows, and your soul knows this is it. This is mine. This is what I was built for. So stop chasing every open door. Stop following the crowd. Stop getting distracted by everything that looks like success. And start asking, is this opportunity truly meant for me? Or am I just afraid to wait for what's truly mine? Because when you learn to discern, you stop chasing and start choosing. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop running after opportunity and start walking in purpose. I don't care how good it looks. I don't care how many people are doing it. I don't care how much money they say it's going to make you. If it doesn't grow you, if it doesn't heal you, if it doesn't serve you, it's a no. Period. Oh, stop wasting time on things that look productive, but leave you stuck in the same place. Stop giving your energy at what doesn't elevate you, doesn't make you better, doesn't bring you closer to your purpose. You out here chasing everything except your own growth. You're grinding for the applause. The applause. You're hustling for acceptance. You're spending time with people who drain you, doing things that stress you, stuck in places that shrink you. And for what? Just so you don't disappoint somebody, just so you don't feel uncomfortable. Let me tell you something. Comfort is killing your greatness. Familiarity is the enemy of your future. If it's not growing you, it's slowly breaking you. Some of y'all are so committed to being liked that you forgot how to be in line. You keep saying yes to situations that you've already outgrown. You keep saying yes to relationships that broke you 100 times over. You keep saying yes to habits that numb your pain instead of heal it. And you wonder why you're stuck in the same cycle year after year, watching everybody else evolve while you're still dealing with the same chaos, the same brokenness, the same patterns. Listen to me, this is not about ego. This is not about being better than anybody. This is about protecting your elevation. You got dreams that require growth. You got a purpose that demands healing. You got a legacy to build, and you can't build it surrounded by people, places, and mindsets that keep pulling you back into who you used to be. You can't keep feeding your future with yesterday's habits. If it doesn't grow you, if it doesn't heal you, if it doesn't serve your mission, it's a no. I don't care if it makes you money. I don't care if they call you soft for walking away. They don't care if to be alone for a season. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is shut the door and say, this ain't for me anymore. And the moment you do that, the moment you get real about what's not helping you evolve, everything changes. You get your energy back. You get your clarity back. You stop surviving and start living You can't heal in the same place you got hurt. You can't grow in the same environment that made you feel small. You can't move forward if you're still holding hands with the past. You got to be willing to release what's familiar for what's necessary. And that takes strength. That takes self-awareness. That takes discipline. And most of all, that takes respect for yourself, for your time, for your vision. You're not being mean when you walk away. You're being intentional. You're not being arrogant when you say no. You're being wise. You're not being selfish when you protect your energy. You're being strategic. Stop letting people guilt trip you into staying small. Stop letting brokenness become your comfort zone. You were not born to stay in survival mode. You were born to thrive, to build, to create, to rise. But you can't do that if you're always carrying things that were never meant to go with you to the next level. That job, that drum, that drains your spirit, it's a no. That relationship that keeps breaking your heart, it's a no. That habit that brings you shame instead of strength, it's a no. That mindset that tells you you'll never be enough, that's a big no. And the moment you get bold enough to reject what's not growing you is the moment you create space for what will. Hey, let me be real. It won't be easy. Saying no to what you've always known is uncomfortable. Letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore feels like loss at first. But hear me, it's not loss, it's liberation. You are freeing yourself from cycles that no longer serve your destiny. You are choosing to evolve. And that's not weakness, that's power. Every yes you give must be an investment in your growth, your peace, your vision. And if it's not, don't feel bad. Don't apologize, don't explain. Just walk away. Because the moment you stop settling is the moment you start soaring. Some people won't understand it. That's fine, they don't have to. This journey is yours. And the more you say no to what's beneath you, the more you say yes to the greatness within you. So the next time something comes up, an opportunity, a conversation, a relationship, a decision, I want you to ask yourself one question. Does this grow me, heal me, or serve me? If the answer is no, then so is yours. You say you got dreams. You say you got goals. You say you hungry. You say you want to rise to the top, change the game, break every generational curse. But every time something pops up on your phone, you saying yes. Every time somebody calls you with some drama, you saying yes. Every time somebody invites you somewhere that don't serve your future, you saying yes. And you don't even realize you're not just saying yes to them, you're saying no to your own destiny. You can't say yes to your dream and yes to your distraction at the same time. One of them has to go. One of them is stealing from the other. And most of the time it's the distraction that's winning. Not because it's stronger, but because you keep giving it permission. You keep giving it access. You keep handing it your time, your focus, your energy, like it's free. Let me ask you something. How bad do you really want it? Because if you really want it, your actions gotta reflect that. If you want the degree, then Netflix can't get 3 hours or you're not. If you wanna build a business, you can't be at every party. If you wanna change your life, you can't spend all day scrolling through everybody else's. That's not purpose. That's not discipline. That's distraction dressed up like rest. You got people out here outworking you, not because they're smarter than you, not because they're more talented, but because they're less distracted. They've locked in. They've said no to average. They've said no to comfort. They've said no to everything that doesn't grow them. And you sitting there watching them win, wondering why it's taking you so long. It's not luck. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's focus. I've been there. I've wasted hours. I've wasted days. I've sat around telling myself I was recharging when really I was just running from the work, running from the discipline, running from the sacrifices that greatness required. And then I had to look in the mirror and say, Eric, you say you want it, but you're lying. But you're lying. Your schedule don't match your dreams. That hurt, but it was the truth. And once I accepted that truth, I made a decision. I cut the noise. I blocked the distractions. I said no to anything that wasn't feeding my future. Let me make it plain. Every yes is a trade. You only got 24 hours. You only got so much energy. You only got so much focus. So when you say yes to a distraction, you're taking that time, that energy, that focus away from the thing you say matters most. And don't tell me you don't have time. You do. You just ain't using it right. You don't need more hours. You need more clarity. You need to decide what matters and what doesn't, what moves the needle and what keeps you stuck. What builds your dream and what breaks your momentum? You need to stop reacting to life and start commanding it. And that starts with saying no firmly, boldly, without guilt, to everything that pulls you away from your purpose. Distractions ain't always loud. They don't always show up with flashing lights and red flags. Sometimes they show up quiet. Sometimes they show up quiet. Sometimes they come in the form of comfort, familiarity. Entertainment, things that feel good in the moment but leave you empty in the long run. That one, a quick breaks turns into hours. That one, harmless conversation turns into mental chaos. That one, a just for today becomes a lifestyle. And now your dream is on the back burner again, waiting for you to show up like you said you would. You gotta be ruthless with your time. You gotta be violent with your vision. You gotta guard your dream like it's sacred, because it is. Isn't a game. This is your life. This is your future. This is your legacy. Every day you wake up, it's a new chance to either build it or betray it. And every decision you make either pushes you forward or pulls you back. So don't come to me talking about you tired. You frustrated, you burn out. Check your distractions first. What are you feeding your mind? Who are you letting your space? What habits are you giving power to every single day? You can't complain about not having what you want if you keep handing your time to what you don't want. This is about discipline. This is about maturity. This is about having the courage to sit in the silence, do the work, stay off your phone, say no to things that look fun but don't serve your mission. Your dream is fragile. It's delicate. It needs your full attention. It needs your respect. And every time you choose a distraction over that dream, you telling it, you don't matter. I'm begging you, start showing up for what you say you want. Start protecting your purpose like it's the most valuable thing you have, because it is. Start saying no like your life depends on it, because it does. And watch how fast things start to shift when you finally stop letting distractions eat the life you were born to live. You were born to live. You will never reach your full potential as long as you keep trying to please everybody. Let me say that again for the people in the back. You will never live in your purpose if you're still trying to live for people's approval. You're exhausted not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing too much for everyone else. You're showing up in places you don't belong. You're saying yes to things your spirit is screaming no to. You're reshaping who you are just to make other people comfortable. And in the process, you're killing your calling. You were not created to fit, and you were born to stand out. But the problem is you've been shrinking. You've been playing small. You've been dumbing yourself down. You've been silencing your voice just so other people don't feel insecure in your presence. You've been editing yourself, filtering your greatness, diluting your fire. Because somewhere along the way, you started believing the lie that being liked is more important than being legendary. Let me help you understand. People pleasing is toxic. It's draining. It's dangerous. It's a slow death of everything authentic about you. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you lose a piece of yourself. Every time you go along to get along, you step further away from your truth. Every time you swallow your voice to avoid conflict, you bury the very power God gave you to change the world. You think you're being nice. You think you're being nice. You think you're being the peace. No, you're sacrificing your soul for validation. And validation is a drug. It feels good for a minute, but it's empty. It's addictive. And the moment you stop giving people what they want, they'll drop you. So why are you killing yourself to keep people only love the version of you that serves them? You trying to please everybody, but let me ask you something. Are they pleased with themselves? You doing all this work to be accepted by people who haven't even accepted their own reflection. You chasing their applause, but they don't even know who they are. You living your life based on their expectations, but they've never even walked in your shoes. That don't make sense. You're trying to impress people who aren't even qualified to have an opinion about your journey. And the truth, you're delaying your purpose. You were called to be bold. To be bold, you were called to be loud. You were called to shake systems and break cycles and speak truth. But you too busy trying not to ruffle feathers. You too busy trying to be cool, trying to be liked, trying to keep your image clean. Listen to me. Purpose is messy. Purpose is disruptive. Purpose requires authenticity, not approval. You cannot serve your calling and serve the crowd at the same time. At some point, you're going to have to choose. Are you going to live for their claps or for your conviction? So are you going to chase their acceptance or chase the assignment on your life? You can't have both. The road to purpose is lonely sometimes. Everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to support you. Everybody's not going to applaud you. And that's okay. You don't need a crowd to be called. Let me be real with you. People pleasing will cost you everything. It'll cost you your time. It'll cost you your time. It'll cost you your confidence. It'll cost you your peace. It'll cost you relationships with people who were actually meant to walk with you. But you were too busy trying to impress the wrong ones. It'll cost you opportunities. It'll cost you yourself. Because the more you try to become what they want, the further you drift from who you really are. And guess what? Even after all that pleasing, some people still won't like you, still won't approve, still won't respect you. So what you doing it for? Why are you waking up early, staying up late, running yourself into the ground, trying to gain the approval of people who never clap for anyone but themselves? Stop giving them power. Stop giving them the pen to write your story. Stop letting their opinions drown out your inner voice. You are not here to be popular. You are here to be powerful. You are not here to fit into their little box. You are here to break boxes, to set new standards, to walk in purpose, to lead with courage, to be so locked into your mission that whether they cheer or boo, you keep moving forward. Yeah. Whether they follow or unfollow, you stay true. Whether they accept you or abandon you, you don't flinch. Why? Because you weren't called by them, you were called by something greater. So today is the day you stop chasing approval and start chasing alignment. You stop trying to make them comfortable and start getting comfortable in your own skin. You stop apologizing for who you are and start walking boldly in who you were born to be. You don't only want a watered down version of you. You don't owe anyone your silence just to keep their peace. Your job is not to be liked. Your job is to live out your calling. So say what needs to be said. Do what needs to be done. Be who you were created to be and let the world adjust. Discipline ain't just about waking up early. It ain't just about hitting the gym or grinding late at night. Discipline is about boundary. Discipline is about knowing where to draw the line and not letting anybody or anything cross it. It's about protecting your time, your focus, your peace, your future. And that protection, that shield, that wall that guards everything you're working for is one word. See, people think discipline is all about willpower. They think it's about pushing harder, going longer, grinding harder. And yeah, that's part of it. But what they don't tell you is that discipline also looks like restraint. Discipline looks like walking away from things that don't align. Discipline looks like saying no to that party, no to that drama, no to that drama, no to that easy way out, no to that habit that brings instant pleasure but long-term pain. If you ain't saying no to nothing, you're not really disciplined. You're just busy. Let me tell you what I've learned. You can't become great if you don't learn how to guard your greatness. You got people, situations, distractions pulling on you from every angle. Texts, calls, gossip, noise. It never stops. And if you don't have boundaries, they will eat up every second of your time and every ounce of your energy. And you'll be left wondering why your goals feel like they're getting further and further away. It's not because you're lazy, it's because you're leaking. You're letting people in who were never supposed to have access. You're leaving the door open and wondering why your peace keeps disappearing. You gotta learn to say no without guilt. That's the shield. That's the force field. That's what keeps your mind clear, your heart strong, and your schedule in alignment with your assignment. People won't always like it. But guess what? That's not your job. Your job is to protect what matters. Your job is to finish what you started. Your job is to honor the discipline it takes to be different. Some of you are frustrated, not because you don't know what to do, but because you do know what to do and keep letting other people's opinions override it. You start your day with purpose, and by noon, you've been pulled in 10 different directions. Not because life took over, but because you let people's agendas become more important than your own. That stops now. You got to create some non-negotiables in your life. Time blocks you don't break. Standards you don't lower. Habits you don't compromise. That's the boundary. That's the discipline. Listen to me. Your dream has enemies. And I'm not talking about haters on the outside. I'm talking about the small compromises, the tiny distractions, the habits you say you left behind, still entertain. Those are the real threats. Those are the cracks in your armor. And if you don't seal those cracks with the word no, eventually your vision will bleed out. Your motivation will drain. And you'll wake up 5 years from now with regrets instead of results. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your higher self. You're choosing growth over gratification, purpose over popularity, alignment over attention, and that takes strength. That takes courage. That takes a mindset that says, I ain't here to be liked. I'm here to be legendary. You think Kobe, by saying yes to everything? You think Serena said yes to every distraction? You think MJ showed up to every invite, every conversation, every event, which conversation, every event? No, they had boundaries. They knew that greatness comes with a cost, and part of that cost is cutting off what doesn't align with the goal. Not because they're better than anybody, but because their standards were different. Their discipline was deeper. Their focus was sacred. You can't keep playing both sides. You can't be disciplined in private and distracted in public. You can't keep one foot in purpose and the other in chaos. You gotta choose. You gotta plant your feet, build a wall, and guard your space like your life depends on it, because it does. You want peace? Set boundaries. You want success? Create structure. You want discipline? Learn the power of no, because saying no isn't weakness. It's wisdom, it's maturity, self-respect. It's saying I've got somewhere to be, and I can't afford to lose momentum entertaining things that don't matter. So starting today, I want you to get real about what's been breaking your discipline. Is it the phone, the late nights, the people who keep pulling you back into old habits? Yeah. Identify it, name it, and then put a boundary in place. Draw the line, build the wall, pick up the shield. And when that distraction comes knocking, say it with your chest. No. Because the moment you do, you'll feel the shift. You'll feel your power turn, your focus sharpen, your schedule clear up. You'll stop surviving and start executing. And execution is what separates the average from the great. That's how legacies are built. Not just by hard work, but by hard decisions. And the hardest decision you'll ever make is choosing discipline over distraction. Boundaries over chaos. Purpose over pressure. So hold the line. Protect your gift. Say no like your future depends on it. Because it absolutely does. You keep asking for peace. You keep praying for clarity. You keep begging for strength. But every time something toxic calls your name, you answer. Every time somebody drains you show up. Every time chaos knocks, you open the door like it's welcome. And I'm here to tell you the truth you don't want to hear. You're not stuck because life is hard. You're stuck because you keep making yourself available to what's draining you. You want freedom, but you're still tied to dysfunction. You want elevation, but you're still loyal to the things that pull you down. You want transformation, but you're still spending time in environments that celebrate the version of you that's already expired. That ain't freedom. That's spiritual prison. And the key to unlock that cell, it's not more motivation. It's not another vision board. It's not a fresh playlist. It's one simple radical act. Stop being available. Freedom is not about escape. Freedom is about boundaries. Freedom is about choosing where your time goes, where your energy flows, where your heart rests. Freedom is not about running away. It's about finally standing up and saying, I refuse to be accessible to what depletes me. You think you're being strong by staying in the chaos. You think you're being noble by always being there for everybody. What's strong is learning to say, I'm done sacrificing myself for people who wouldn't even pray for me. Some of y'all are addicted to being needy. You love being the go-to person. You love being the one who saves the day. But while you're out here pouring into everybody else who's pouring into you, you out here giving CPR to situations that should have been buried years ago. You're trying to revive friendships, jobs, habits that God already told you to let go. And you call that loyalty. I call that self-betrayal. Stop letting your phone dictate your peace. Every time it rings, you pick up. Every time a notification pings, you respond. Every time someone sends you their problems, you absorb them like it's your job. And now you're walking around heavy, angry, confused. Not because you're broken, but because you become the emotional trash can for everybody else's mess. That is today. You want your mind back? Log off. You want your joy back? Stop answering. You want your purpose to flow? Create space. Clear the noise. Shut the door. You got to be willing to disappoint some people in order to deliver yourself. You got to be willing to break cycles by walking away from what no longer deserves your presence. Let me make this plain. Just because you have history with someone doesn't mean they deserve access to your future. Sure. Just because you've always been there doesn't mean you have to stay there. Loyalty should never come at the cost of your peace. Honor should never require you to self-destruct. You're not a lifeline. You're not a therapist. You're not a superhero. You're a human being with a calling, and your time is sacred. You got dreams that require focus. You got healing that needs space. You got a purpose that can't breathe when you're constantly surrounded by drama, negativity, and noise. The longer you make yourself available to what drains you, the longer you delay your next level. You weren't meant to carry everything. You weren't meant to save everyone. You weren't meant to be everywhere at once. You were meant to walk in freedom, but freedom comes with discipline. Freedom comes with separation. Freedom comes with choosing what you say yes to and fiercely protecting what you say no to. Start treating your energy like it's gold. Start treating your peace like it's priceless. Stop showing up just because you feel guilty. Stop saying yes just because they're used to you saying yes. You've outgrown some people, and that's okay. You've outgrown some places, and that's okay. What's not okay is continuing to stay in places you've graduated from just because you're afraid of how people will feel when you leave. They'll get over it. And if they don't, that's not your burden. Let them feel what they need to feel. Let them call you selfish. Let them misunderstand. Because in the end, the only one living your life is you. And if your soul is tired, your peace is gone, and your growth is stunted, you owe it to yourself to make some cuts. Every yes costs you something. Every time you make yourself available to the wrong thing, you rob the right thing of your presence. That business idea that never gets started, that's the cost of one too many draining conversation. That morning routine that gets skipped, that's the cost of a late night phone call from someone who always brings chaos. That mental clarity you keep begging for, that's the price you pay when you refuse to disconnect. So stop saying, I'm stuck, saying I'm unavailable. Stop saying I'm so overwhelmed and start saying, I'm not picking up that weight anymore. Stop saying, why does this keep happening? And start saying, why does this keep happening? And start keep saying yes when I should be saying no. Freedom isn't found in adding more. It's found in subtracting what no longer belongs. Say it out loud. Well, I'm not available for that anymore. Say it until it sticks. Say it until your peace returns. Say it until your energy feels light. Say it until your calendar reflects your purpose. That's how you take your life back. That's how you breathe again. That's how you rise. You better stop giving your future away just to get a few claps. You better stop discounting your destiny just to fit into rooms that were never built for you. Let me tell you something that will hit you in the chest. Your destiny is too expensive to be auctioned off for approval. You've been out here giving people a front row seat to a show they never paid for. You've been offering your worth like it's on sale. You've been negotiating your value just so people won't leave you, just so they'll like you, just so you don't look too ambitious, too confident, too different. And all the while, you've been watering down your purpose. You were created for something bigger than their opinion. You were built for something deeper than their validation. But you keep putting your dreams up on stage, letting people throw bids at it. One person offers attention, you lower your standards. Another person offers praise, you change your plans. Somebody claps loud enough, and suddenly you forget your original mission. You out here performing for approval instead of building for impact. You want to be great? You want to be legendary? Then stop putting your destiny on clearance. Stop marking it down every time someone raises an eyebrow. Stop handing it over every time someone doesn't understand your grind. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Let them say you're too focused, too intense, too unavailable. Let them say you're arrogant, selfish, unreachable. Because the truth is, they just don't know the price you paid to get this far. They don't know the nights you cried, the battles you fought, the dreams you refused to bury. They don't know what it costs to carry this calling. So why are you trying to get approval from people who didn't help you build it? They weren't there when you were broke. They weren't there when you were doubting yourself. They weren't there when you were grinding in silence. when nobody clapped, when nobody cared. But now you want to hand over your future to make them feel comfortable. That's a bad trade. That's not strategy. That's self-sabotage. Some of you are standing in the middle of your calling, questioning whether you're allowed to walk in it because people around you are uncomfortable with your growth. You shrinking yourself to stay close to people who have no vision. You minimizing your light just so nobody says you're too much. Let me tell you, you are too much. You are too gifted, too driven, too chosen to be apologizing for your purpose. You think the ones who changed the world waited for permission? You think the greats, people who left legacies, asked for approval before they stepped out? No, they were misunderstood. They were rejected. They were criticized, but they stayed locked in. They stayed committed. They didn't let cheap opinions cancel out a priceless purpose. And that's the part you need to understand. Your destiny is priceless. You can't put a dollar sign on peace. You can't auction off alignment. You can't trade clarity for clout. You can't sell your assignment for a seat at a table that was never meant to feed you. Some of you have been selling first-class purpose for economy-level attention. You chasing likes, views, validation, when what you really need is focus. What you really need is obedience. What you really need is to stop explaining yourself to people who've never done what you're trying to do. You owe nobody an explanation for why you're driven. You don't owe an apology for your standards. You don't have to shrink to be accepted. You don't have to tone it down to be loved. The ones who are meant to walk with you won't require you to dim your light to make them feel safe. They'll celebrate it. They'll match it. They'll be lit up by your flame, not intimidated by it. So stop selling your soul for applause. Stop trying to fit in when you were built to stand out. You've got something the world needs, but they'll never see it if you keep hiding it behind the mask of approval. Every time you compromise your truth for acceptance, you lose a piece of your purpose. And the more pieces you give away, the further you drift from the life you were born to live. You gotta make a decision. Do I wanna be liked or do I wanna be legendary? Do I wanna be accepted by the crowd or respected by the calling on my life? Do I wanna fit in or do I wanna stand tall in who I want to stand tall and who I really am? You can't have both. One will feed your ego. The other will feed your destiny, but only one of those is gonna matter when it's all said and done. So take your purpose off the market. Take your gift off the shelf. Take your time, your energy, your brilliance, and put it back under protection. Set the price high, and if they're not willing to pay with respect, honor, and support, they then can't afford your presence. Because this destiny, this dream, this next level is not for sale, not for applause, not for approval, not for followers, not for likes. Your destiny has already been paid for in full by your pain, your process, your perseverance. You don't owe anybody access. All you owe now is obedience. Every single time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're not just shutting a door. You're unlocking a deeper version of yourself. You think you're just saying no to that distraction, that party, that relationship, that job, that old mindset. But what you're really doing is saying yes to growth. Yes to peace. Yes to purpose. Yes to becoming the person you keep praying to become. We live in a world that tells you to say yes to everything. Say yes to the grind. Say yes to every invite. Say yes to every opportunity. Say yes so you don't miss out. But let me be real with you. The power is not in saying yes to everything. It's in knowing when to say no. No is your sword. That no is your anchor. That no is the line in the sand that says, I'm done playing small. I'm done giving away my energy like it's free. I'm done compromising who I am to keep other people comfortable. Some of y'all are tired, not because you're weak, but because you're overcommitted. You're exhausted because you keep saying yes to things that drain you. Yes to situations that distract you. Yes to people who don't value you. Yes to roles and routines that keep you locked into survival mode. And every time you say yes to them, you're saying no to you, no to rest, no to rest, no to peace, no to your calling, no to the version of you that's waiting on the other side of courage. You keep asking, why am I stuck? Because you keep saying yes to what's beneath you. You keep saying yes out of fear. You keep saying yes because you don't want to disappoint. You keep saying yes because you don't want to be the bad guy. But hear me, you're not the villain for choosing you. You're not selfish for putting your growth first. You're not wrong for finally drawing the line. You say you want the next level, but next level living requires next level boundaries. You can't keep taking everyone and everything with you. You can't keep carrying weight that was never yours. You can't keep saying yes to chaos and expect peace to grow. That's not how this works. Oh, your future self is calling and they're begging you. Start saying no to what's killing me. Start saying yes to what heals me. When you say no to that unhealthy relationship, you say yes to your self-worth. When you say no to scrolling for 2 hours, you say yes to building discipline. When you say no to gossip, drama, and negativity, you say yes to protecting your mind. When you say no to fear, you say yes to faith. When you say no to other people's expectation, you say yes to your own truth. But you can't say yes to both. You can't say yes to your dream and yes to the habits trying to destroy you. You can't say yes to clarity and yes to chaos. You can't say yes to legacy and yes to every temporary fix that shows up dressed like comfort. Your yes has power and your no has purpose. Both of them matter. Both of them define who you become. You know why this is hard. Because you've been conditioned to believe your worth is tied to how much you give, how often you're available, how little you complain. But I came to shake that lie loose. You don't owe anybody your burnout. You don't owe anyone your breakdown. You don't have to empty yourself just to prove you care. You prove you care by showing up whole, not by crawling through the day trying to hold everyone else up while you crumble inside. Saying no doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. It means you finally decided that your energy is not for sale. It means you're prioritizing what truly matters over what's loud, what's popular, or what's urgent but not important. And that's maturity. That's growth. That's spiritual authority. There's a version of you, stronger, wiser, more focused, more peaceful, that can only be accessed when you stop stretching yourself to fit everyone else's needs. You've spent too long saying yes to survive. Now it's time to start saying no to thrive. You've got dreams that require your full presence. You got goals that can't wait another year. You got healing that can't happen in clutter. You got a legacy that won't build itself. And every no you speak with conviction moves you one step closer to the version of you who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, who doesn't forget who they are just to keep people around. So the next time something comes at you that doesn't feel right, that tugs at your peace, that distracts from your mission, I want you to breathe deep and say it like your future depends on it. No, not because you're bitter, not because you're selfish, but because your dream is finally loud enough to drown out the noise, because you finally believe your purpose deserves priority, because the time for pleasing is over and the time for rising has begun. And when you walk away, when you hang up that call, close that tab, shut that door, skip that invite, ignore that temptation, you'll feel something powerful happen inside of you. That's your higher self clapping. That's your purpose getting clearer. That's your peace returning. That's you finally coming home to who you were always meant to be. You keep asking for more time. You keep praying for clarity. You keep begging for peace. You keep talking about wanting your life to change, but your life can't change if there's no room for the change to live. You can't evolve when you're cluttered. You can't grow when your calendar's booked by everybody else's expectation. You can't hear your own voice when your days are filled with noise. The breakthrough you're waiting on is on the other side of one word. No, you don't need more hours in a day. You need boundaries. You need to start subtracting before you start adding. You need to look at everything taking up space in your life and start asking one simple question. Does this matter? And if the answer is no, then you need to say no. Not later, not when it's convenient, right now. Because every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you are robbing your future of the space it needs to breathe. You got people depending on you. You got dreams waiting on you. Your purpose chasing you down. But it can't find you because you're hiding under a mountain of distractions and obligations that have nothing to do with your calling. You're stuck, not because you don't know where to go, but because you're too busy going everywhere else. You're pulled in 100 directions and wondering why you can't move forward. It's because your life is full, but it's not full of what matters. Let me tell you something. Every yes is a door you open, but not every door leads to destiny. Some doors lead to delay. Some doors lead to detours, Some doors lead to depletion. And you got to be wise enough, strong enough, and bold enough to say no before you even turn the handle. Just because something sounds good, looks good, doesn't mean it fits your season. Doesn't mean it belongs in your story. You got 24 hours. That's it. That's all you get. And you out here giving your best hours to people and problems that won't even matter a year from now. You letting urgent replace important. You letting guilt override growth. You letting I don't want to disappoint them become more important than I don't want to disappoint myself. That's the problem. You've got to learn to guard your gates. Guard your schedule. Guard your peace. Guard your focus. And that starts with no. Not maybe. Not let me check. Not we'll see. Straight up no, no explanation. No apology. No guilt trip. Because if you keep leaving the door open for everything, you'll never have room for the thing that's going to change your life. You think success is about hustle. You think it's about grind. But real success, the kind that lasts, the kind that heals while it builds, that kind of success is about clarity, about knowing what matters and having the courage to let go of what doesn't. You got to protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. You got to protect your energy like it's priceless, because it is. How many opportunities have you missed because your life was too crowded? How many moments passed you by because you were too busy doing things that didn't even align with your spirit? You said yes out of fear. You said yes out of habit. You said yes because you didn't want to seem difficult. And now look, you're drowning in obligations that have nothing to do with your purpose. It's time to do some cleaning. Clear your calendar. Clear your inbox. Clear your space. Clear your heart. Make room for what matters most. That means saying no to distractions, no to drama, no to fake support, no to energy vampire, no to the things you used to be but are no longer aligned with. You can't walk into your next chapter carrying the clutter of your last one. Then don't get it twisted. Saying no doesn't make you hard. It makes you honest. It makes you focused. It makes you powerful. It means you're finally taking ownership of your life. You're finally acting like you know who you are. You're finally honoring your time, your energy, your voice, your future. You've been living reactive. You've been living based on what other people throw at you. But that's not living. That's surviving. And you were not born just to survive. You were born to thrive. But to thrive, you need space. Space to think. Space to think. Space to move. Space to create. And you don't get that space by hoping for it. You get it by carving it out, one bold no at a time. So the next time something shows up and you feel that tension in your gut, that tightness in your chest, that's your higher self knocking. That's your future saying, don't let this take my seat. And when that moment comes, don't second guess it. Don't explain it away. Don't water it down. Look it dead in the eye and say it with strength. No. Because when you say no to what doesn't matter, you say yes to what truly does. You keep thinking that when you say no, you're being rude. You think you're turning your back on people. You think you're missing opportunities. But let me wake you up right now. Saying no is not rejection. Saying no is redirection. Every time you say no to something that's not aligned, you're turning your feet back toward purpose. Every time you say no to what drains you, distracts you, or detours you, you're saying yes to where you're really meant to go. We've been trained to fear the word of no. We've been taught to be agreeable, to go along with the plan, to not rock the boat. But let me ask you, whose plan are you living on? Whose dream are you serving? Because if it ain't yours, you're drifting. And I don't care how busy you are. If you're not on your assignment, you're just wasting motion. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're making progress. You could be busy every day and still be walking in circles because you refuse to say no to what's not meant for you. Some of you are exhausted because you're trying to hold on to people, places, and positions you were never supposed to carry into your next season. You're afraid to say no because you think you're burning bridges. But sometimes that bridge needs to burn so you don't go back. Sometimes the path you're clinging to is the very thing keeping you from discovering what was always yours. And I know it's hard. I know it's uncomfortable. But listen to me. Every powerful person you admire had to master the power of no. They had to turn down the good to reach the great. They had to say no to shortcuts, no to fame that came too fast, no to friends who only knew them as who they were, not who they were becoming. Saying no is not rejection. It's protection. It's divine realignment. The truth is, you can't afford to keep saying yes just because you don't want to disappoint people. You're disappointing yourself every time you betray your inner voice just to make someone else happy. Where your purpose matters more than the pressure to be everything to everyone. Where your yes becomes sacred, something you give with intention, not out of guilt or fear. Because if everything gets a yes, then your real calling gets lost in the noise. You say you want clarity. You say you want focus. You say you want to elevate. But what you don't realize is that clarity doesn't come from more. It comes from less noise, less clutter, less compromise. And you don't get to a lesson until you learn to say no, not just to people, but to your own pattern. Say no to procrastination. Say no to old habits. Say no to the fear that's had you stuck for years. Because when you say no to that fear, you say yes to faith. Every no is a doorway. It closes one chapter, but opens another. You might not see it right away. It might feel lonely in the moment. It might look like you're walking away from something good, but what's good isn't always God. What's safe isn't always destiny. What's familiar isn't always fruitful. You got to trust that when you say no to what's wrong, you make room for what's right. Let me break it down for you. You said no to that relationship that looked solid, but didn't support your growth. Now you're free to attract someone who honors your mission. You said no to that job that paid well, but drained your soul. Now you've got room to build what you were born to build. You said no to that circle that only called you when they needed something. Now your space is clear for real community. That's not rejection. That's redirecting. That's realignment. That's elevation. And let me say this, you don't need a reason to say no. No is a full sentence. No is a full sentence. No is your boundary. No is your compass. No is you deciding that your time, your energy, and your purpose are not up for negotiation. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe apologies. You owe obedience to your calling, to your assignment, to your legacy. The more you grow, the more you'll have to say no. That's the price of elevation. The air is thinner up there for a reason. Not everyone can breathe in that space. Not everything can come with you, and that's okay. You're not leaving people behind. You're just not letting them lead your life anymore. So the next time you're faced with a choice, something that looks tempting, something that feeds your ego but not your soul, I want you to pause. Ask yourself, is this aligned with my purpose? Is this feeding my future? And if the answer is no, then don't hesitate. Speak it boldly. Say it from your chest. No, not because you're rejecting someone else, but because you're respecting yourself. That's how you rise. That's how you take control. That's how you create space for the version of you that doesn't settle, doesn't shrink, doesn't stall. Because when you say no to what's not for you, you finally give a full, fearless yes to what's meant for you.